Yes, that is a good news. Okay. So as everybody can hear everything, maybe we will start. So I will start today. Today is my turn. So I will start to introduce you SEO nerd, because if it is the first time that you're here, you're obliged to discover what SEO nerd is in our association. Welcome to SEO Nerd Association. So Iselin and I decided to found SEO Nerd Switzerland because we were working together. We decided to share knowledge. That, like, the main goal of the association is to share knowledge, and at the same time, yes, we like to interact with people. We, as I say, we were working together, and I wanted to continue to work with her. So that it was also a great object, a great goal, like to continue. And we also learn something each time that we have a talk. So we are equally happy to have this association. Let me share the slides, because that should be the goal mainly, but I just forgot about it and nobody say anything. Okay, let me share the slides. Okay, so as you can see, we have even a slide for the association. This one it was SEO Nerd Switzerland. So we also have two sponsors. So we would like to thank the two sponsors. One is Leap and the other one is Pilea.ch. Both sponsors help us, help us to cover the cost. So, for example, the caption in the videos, the webinar, and all this kind of technology stuff, and a little bit more. So, thank you to both of the sponsors. What next? So today we will have a great talk. We are super excited, but also in September, yes, because we will have a break from this one. It will be the last talk before the summer season. And so we will have a break for a couple of months, and then we will come back with the Oneli team. So we will have Sevilla and Bartos, then they will come and speak about the mystery behind indexing. So we will discover some problem, they did some research, and we are also excited to see what will come out from that. So I would say then that's all from my side.
Sounds super interesting. I will be sure to sign up.
Oh, super cool. Speaker signing up for speaker. I love that. So,
and also, if you missed last talk with Miracle about SEO forecasting, you find the talk online on YouTube. And we have added English subtitles, so in case you'd rather read a little bit. And as soon as I finish talking, I'll also share with you the link where you find the transcript. So we are doing our best to make the knowledge accessible. If you have any other input or insight of what else we could do, please just drop me a line, an email on whichever channel we are, and we are really eager to know. So today is a really, really special talk for me, because as you know, probably I host two different communities. The first one is here, like tonight, SEO Nerd Switzerland, and the other one is Content Strategy Lausanne. Today I work as an SEO consultant, but I have a digital strategy background, content strategy background. So I find Ulrika's talk really, really particular. I think it's unique. It's nothing I've seen so far, because she really merges two different types of approach. As SEO, we heard a lot about search intent, and in content strategy and web design, we talk a lot about customer journey. And what Ulrika does here is she merges the different approach, and I think she's totally right, because on her website, Ulrika has an awesome agency. You should check it out. I mean, just for the design, because The website in itself looks really good, but otherwise than that, the particularity of the agency is that they say that they are stronger together and they have a multidisciplinary background. And so I couldn't agree more. And that's exactly what the talk is about. And Ulrika has a really interesting career path because she has both work experience as SEO, as a senior SEO, but also as a writer and as a growth manager. So already in her experience, we can see that she took, I think, the best of each of the discipline and to be the wonderful person and expert that she is today. So that's enough for me for talking. I think I have shared website to the agency, and I'll also share a couple of links so you can stay in touch with Ulrika over social media channels. And that's it. So Ulrika, I'll let you go. And also you have an amazing t-shirt. I just love it so much.
I love it too. I found it on Search Engine Journal web shop, and I was like, I cannot live without that one.
Yeah.
I only wear it for special occasions.
Oh, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that very nice presentation of me. Thank you. Okay, I'll start sharing my screen presentation, and here we go. So I changed the title of this session a little bit to Wine, Kittens, and Other Fruit, Dangerous Fruit, because we like wine, don't we? So let's see. I am Ulrika Viberg, and I am the agency owner of Unikorn, which is a Sweden-based digital agency, and we do SEO, web projects, and strategies, digital strategies. I've been in SEO for more than almost 14 years, or more than 14 years. I started with doing search in 2007 already. And my projects have mainly been technical and web projects. But in 2018, I teamed up with a former colleague of mine and also friend, and we started doing digital strategies for companies and helping them figure out their customer journey and what they should do, and creating processes for a more successful digital strategy. So doing that, it wasn't only doing SEO, it was also doing other things. And I saw that the marketing models that we used could also be very useful in SEO and could be very powerful in creating an SEO strategy. And what I did was I applied these models, marketing models, to my SEO models. And this is what we are going to look at today, is like one of the hybrids that I created out of these models. But with no more further ado, let's talk about keyword research, which is often the starting point in SEO projects. Any project, we start looking at what is it that we're going to optimize and what is it that our client is optimizing for. And as we SEOers are very result oriented, we tend to start chasing those golden nuggets and keywords with high search volume, low competition, and we want to sprinkle those keywords all over the content for our clients, and then we're gonna gain lots of traffic and finally win rewards and be praised and loved. The only thing is that it is easy to lose sight of relevance when you chase those low-hanging fruits, because not everything that glitters is gold. And I'm going to give an example to tell you what I mean. In Sweden, we have something called Systembolaget. And I know that's a mouthful, but it's the government-owned chain of liquor stores in Sweden. So they are the only retail permitted to serve or to sell beverages with an alcohol percentage above 3.5. Of course, you can buy wine and beer at the bar, but you cannot pop into a local market and pick up a bottle of wine. You need to go to Systembolaget to do that. It's regulated. And it might seem strange to you, but actually we think it's rather okay. The staff is very knowledgeable, and many of them are licensed sommeliers, and they can always answer your questions that you have about wines or spirits or beers. And they can also give you examples of what beverage goes with what type of food. This service they also have on their website. Only I noticed that they have optimized these pages for the phrase wine and food rather than wine with food. And that tiny bit in the search phrase makes a difference. But it is not so strange that they did this, because wine and food has a much higher search volume than wine with food. And it kind of would be considered the better keyword, or the better performing keyword. The thing is, if you actually search for the two things in Google, you see that they have different search intents, where the one is finding a place to wine and dine, and the other is how to pair wine with food, or food and beverage pairings. So already here is a difference. So what happens if you lose the sight of relevance and start chasing those golden nuggets and low-hanging fruit, is that you lose sight of relevance, and then you miss the target. And you might get a lot of impressions and clicks, but you will also get lots of bounces and other negative signals telling you that your users are not super happy with the content that you are serving them. So what should we do? You should let's up the game and start with a strategy to get past this hurdle. And so this is the strategy that I came up with to pinpoint exactly what it is we are looking for. I call it the search customer journey. Ta-da! So the search customer journey is combined out of a few marketing models and one SEO model. And the first model is customer journey. It's the foundation of the search customer journey. And because the customer journey is actually a user decision process, or a model of it, and is, how do you say, like, it's a model of how you make a decision of purchasing something, or taking the decision of getting information about something. It is a model. It is not the representation of the real world out there. Our brains doesn't work like this, but still it's good as a model. It's still useful. So in this example that I'm using here, I am using 5 stages of the customer journey. There are lots more, and you should be using the one that your company or that your client is using. So, and then map the search content or search intents and etc. and the content towards that. So that you map the whole search customer journey to your customer journey. On top of the customer journey, I put the search intents. So describing the different intents of a search, and you all know what they are, and you can read more about them, what they do. And we're going to talk about it as well. And then you'll have a layer of fluffy cat pictures and fun meme content, but also inspirational guidelines or guides and articles, product pages, and everything in between. A touch point is where you engage with your customers or your users. It can be a social platform, or you could be a web, or it could be an app push notification, or it could be word of mouth, anything. It's also offline. It's not only digital. It's also important to remember. And this is the lovely cat of a friend of mine. She's so cute. So here, combining these layers, you get a full search customer journey, and it should look like something like this. But to really understand how to utilize the layers, and make them work for you, we need to look into each stage and see what happens there, and find out what they mean to you and to your users and your customers. So let's start with awareness. Awareness is the phase where your customers actually don't know you yet, or they've seen you somewhere on a billboard or on a commercial or on a banner, or on social media or something, and they are thinking, I didn't know that you existed, but it feels like you get me. Your user is searching for something else. They're not actually searching for what you do or what things that you have, because they didn't know you before. And the touch points will be finding your inspirational content or your fun things on social media, your cat images or your memes or somewhere, or just heard about you. And the goal is to make the user feel seen and understood. The user should feel like you are a friend or someone like them or someone that they want to be. And this is super hard because making people feel that is a tricky one. And we are bombarded with marketing messages each day in like insanity, maybe hundreds of them, thousands of them every day, all the commercials. All right, but now your user know you, so they're interested. In the interest phase, the user's thinking, I might need something like your service. Maybe, we'll see. But they're searching for generic keywords and broader searches and questions. The who, when, what, and other queries. And it's very important to actually not stick to the what, when, who only. You have to check what is it that your users are searching, what kind of questions are they searching for in your niche or for this company about this topic, because they are different. It's not as simple as the W questions. And then they also search for broader topics, not at all specified, like broader topics, 1 or 2 keyword phrase searches. So they should find your pages with solution-oriented content in the search result. And that means that they're looking for a solution to whatever. If they are interested, they have something, a need that you will need to fulfill. And they are looking for a solution for that need. And this is what you are talking to. And the goal is make the user to become more interested in you and your services. So, skipping here. Okay, so they are interested. Now they think like, really? Is it really good? So they start thinking, do you offer a solution for my specific problem? Because really, honestly, I don't care about anything else than me and my problem and my specific problem. I don't care about you and your company, your CEO, your board, how many awards you won or whatever. I care about me. So they search for longer tail searches, questions again, but now more specific questions and maybe how-to questions. How do I do this? And more like detailed, and probably some product questions as well. But they also do product searches, not specific product searches, but rather generic product searches. And they also give specific questions. So you engage with them in solution-oriented pages again, but with a value proposition that gives them the notion of that you know what you're doing and you're the expert in this, and yes, we can solve your problem and you can trust us. You have like a starting relationship there of yes, you can trust us. It's going to be more important later on, but you can start with already here with that. So the goal with this type of content or this type of relationship with your users is to make them consider your brand or your product or services when the need arises. It might not be right now. It can be next week or in a year, or it could be next minute, depending on the need. But you want to have the connection. And here is where you start putting in or is collecting leads, asking for an email, or making them, yes, I want to be reminded that I might need your services later on. Okay, so we have them on the hook, so to say. Now they're evaluating. they're thinking, I would like to know if what solution is best for my specific problem, because again, my problem. And they start searching for more detailed product searches and reviews and testimonials and other providers of the service or the product, or other brands, really, or other ways of solving this problem. So that doesn't actually have to be you as it doesn't have to be your direct competition. It can also be secondary competition that solves their users' need in other ways. So you talk to your clients or your soon-to-be customers on conversion optimized pages with all the information that they need about secure shopping. We have all the payment methods that you need. You can trust us. We are secure. Look here, we have other people doing it, and you can also read our testimonials. And we have reviews on Google and other pages, or Trustpilot, or what your review platform is in your country or your market, so that they should find all of these things that they need to make up their minds about you being the best solution for their problems. So the goal here is, of course, to make the user feel secure enough to choose your brand before the competitors, because you can be sure that they have not only checked you out, they have checked all the other competitors out as well. And maybe you are gaining, or this user is coming into your brand in this stage because they were shopping at someone else, and then now they saw that you were the better option. Or it could be that they were starting at the journey at your brand, and maybe you bought them in terms of paid search, and now they are making the decision that I should go to the competitor because they have better content and more convincing rhetorics about the products. Okay, so you have them on the hook. Now, really, they said that, yes, I believe you. I think that you are the best solution for my problem, and I want you to provide me with my thing. So the last phase in this journey is the purchase phase, where the user is thinking, I want the brand to hand me the solution for my specific problem. I don't want any hassle. I don't care if your database is crashing or so that you cannot load your pages fast enough. I don't care that your developer has quit so that the form, whatever I'm gonna have to write my stuff in, is not working. I don't care this and that and that. I want it done. It should take 3 seconds. I should feel super convinced that you know your things, and I should still feel that I can trust you, and it should be fast. And I don't want to fill in 3 pages in a form. 2 fields is enough, and then click. So they are searching for price. They're going to can I maybe find this product somewhere else cheaper? And delivery options. Can get my stuff faster? Discounts and coupons and payment methods. And you need to kind of serve them with all of these things, because this is going to happen. It's going to happen fast, and you only have a few seconds or a few minutes to actually be stable enough to keep the client. And the goal is to make the user stay and go through with the conversion without any distraction. And you want the user to feel secure enough, happy enough, and make the whole experience smooth enough so the user will hand over their money, because that is what it's about. It's their money that they're handing over to someone. And the level of trust is rather big. Nowadays, we shop on the internet without thinking about it too much, especially on Corona pandemic here. I've been shopping a lot, but before that, it was yeah, could be a little bit harder to actually go through with the conversion. And it also depends on who your clients or users are. If they are older, this will be a bigger hurdle. If they're younger, it might not be so bad, or not so, they might not think about it so much. And doing this, we have the full customer journey. If we map all these things together, it's the customer journey, the search intents, the actual queries, and where the queries, if they have searched this and that query, where will they land? What is the touch point? Because that is also the most important thing. They need to land on a page with the correct tone of voice and a suiting piece of content that will inspire them or make them feel trustful, and having easy conversion, etc., etc. So depending on the query, is going to set the tone of voice on the page, but also what kind of content is there, obviously. But again, and then I use the goals of each stage. Is where is the call to actions? Where is the value propositions? How should I talk to them? What should they do next? And I help my clients or my users move forward in the journey. Because a more relevant content structure will give happy users, and happy users will give happy search engines, and happy search engines will in the end give happy business. And if we have time, I have a few bonuses of a few processes that I'm using, where I'm using this. I could just quickly run through them, and then you can read it more thoroughly in the presentation.
Yeah, so I don't have the time yet, but I love it. So I would say yes.
Okay.
Go on. At least you can learn a little bit more. It's a fantastic presentation. So I would say yes. I don't know, Iselin, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I love this presentation. I think it's what you said about the customer journey is probably known to the people I can see who have joined us and that I know from the Content Strategy Lausanne community, because this is something that is known to anyone who does content strategy and who does writing. But this is something that is actually not known to people who do SEO. And whereas I think that anyone doing SEO should actually just serve the purpose and just help each of these touch points. And that's what you've just explained is actually what should drive everything else. And yeah, so I have rarely seen it so well explained. And so thank you really for that. This is awesome.
So Ulrika, she's okay with the bonus too, apparently.
Okay.
So go. We have time then.
I'll run through the bonuses really fast, and then you can read it better. So how do I use this search customer journey? I find my users' questions and pain points and doing a more relevant keyword research. Then I use this keyword research analysis for content gap analysis and content strategy. I can also do a more relevant on-page optimization based on the content gap analysis, the keyword analysis, and the search customer journey. And then I can also base my site structure on the findings from the content analysis and the keyword research. So the whole spectra of things you can do. And I added here, how can you, because I don't want to tell people what to do, but how can you use search customer journey for keyword research? Where I do is I identify the keywords per intent and phase, and I pinpoint the questions that are being asked more specifically, and then I try to find what kind of keywords are matching what phase, so that we don't get distracted by the search volume, because we do. And then I map the keywords, and I use a programmatic keyword tagging template that is online, actually. And then I use do a full behavior analysis out of this. So like, are my users using more informational or commercial searches, and when, and to what content does that serve, etc., etc., and where do I earn the most money for my client? So I can also do a content gap analysis and identify the current content situation. And through that, I use a crawl or a tool and to build in the understanding of the content on the site. And I tag each page with intent and face, and this is important. And I create the map of the content. And then I identify the gaps, really. It took me 2 seconds to say that. It does not take 2 seconds to do a gap analysis. So how do you do it for like finding opportunities for content strategy? Yeah, list all the opportunities that I find in the content gap analysis, etc. And often I see that informational searches have over 5 times higher than transactional searches. But where do the companies put their effort in? Product pages. Yep. So, and then a tag with intent and face here as well. And then I use the USPs and call to actions to my strategy. And those are the, how do I speak to the user, and what is the goal with the content? And then I create briefs for my content creators. These is the keyword, this is the URL, this is the face, this is intent, this is the USP, this is the CTA. And then they do their magic. I can also do it to optimize, and yeah, more or less the same process actually, but per page. And then building a structure could be then think of the website as a mall, and where you sometimes stroll around and sometimes you need a dress or something, and which are the actual stores in the mall, what needs to be together and what can be separated. And in the content analysis with the phase, with this search intent, you can actually see what should be joined together and not. And then I use the content gap analysis to fill in the gaps, actually, and again, add more content. Whoop. And then I use the goals and as KPIs.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Ulrika. That was
amazing.
Awesome.
That was really amazing. I agree. So yes, there my guess is then we will have some questions now. Ulrika, maybe you want to stop to share the screen?
Okay.
Okay, no, go.
Yeah, no,
Isabelle,
I love the slides so much. I don't even want to stop the screen. But yeah, we can stop the screen and see. But can you tell me, Ulrika, like when you do the I would like to know how you create your customer journey. Is that a workshop you do with the clients, or yes. Okay, so it's
usually, I mean, more. Yeah, okay, so so when we were doing that, and that was what we offered our clients, we actually went to the office or the company. This was pre-corona, and we did the customer journey with them, and we lay out all the things. They told us all the things that they were doing offline and online, so both digital and not digital. And then we put touch points to it, and then added to customer journey. And then after that, we would say that this is the process of how you do make this and that more effective, etc. But many companies already have done this. So then you can actually take the already done customer journey and maybe go through it, but in a very smaller format than a full workshop, and then you start tagging everything to it.
And you do it to answer what type of issues or challenges? Except I can imagine, like, if you do a relaunch, but in which other circumstance would that come in handy?
So I still do it, and this workshop, this customer journey workshop actually answers so many questions. It also helps if they're doing a new website, for example, then this can answer all the questions about the new structure, or what content will be needed on the new site. But for me, it's also if I know what is happening outside SEO, all the other channels or communication channels, I also can say that, okay, I can tag into this and that and that. All right, you have a newsletter and you have people are calling to you, so I can maybe go to the customer service and ask them, what are people asking you? What is it? What are your clients' pain points? Okay, we need to create content about this and we need to optimize it. And then I can, for example, say that, okay, you're doing a fair somewhere and then you are marketing it, but maybe we need to create some then content or optimize your social media platforms so that it can take care of the traffic or the searches that's going to happen when you're anywhere you're visible. People are going to search around you. And sometimes you have clients that does not have already a ton of traffic or many users, and then you need to find what metaphor can I tag into and connect my content to, or connect my company to. So what kind of other thing can I tag on to and create content around so that we do get traffic and do get visitors. So it has to be, of course, relevant still.
So it's really a user-focused SEO approach. Yeah.
So mainly awesome. You can use it in each time then there is something, then is not purely technical SEO. So if you are doing a relaunch, if you want to improve the structure, because often you have a normal website and you just want to improve the structure, or sometimes you have to do the structure from scratch. So yes, you can use it in any situation.
So
I think actually that technical SEO should be there to improve the touch points.
Exactly.
That you should. I mean, actually, but seriously, because if you have like trouble converting, it means that your website is too slow at some point, for instance.
Yes. Yeah. And giving other bad signals.
So sorry, but I'm like, technical SEO just to improve metrics. No.
No, but also internal linking.
Back to my face. Okay, I agree. I can't say anything against it. Okay, you're right. So just a couple of questions that they came up from other people. First of all, you have like somebody like saying, how do we sign up for this customer journey workshop?
So do you do any, but Ulrika, do you do any trainings or do you have any coaching sessions planned?
Yes, I've planned for it, but in Swedish.
All right.
So but yeah, I'll actually, if people are interested, I don't see there's no reason why I shouldn't.
So maybe can they contact for example, Seth, can they contact you directly if somebody is interested, and then maybe we will share with the community later on. If you
maybe Seth, you mean that you would like Ulrika to lead a customer journey workshop for your company, or you would like Ulrika to train you and teach you how to do it yourself? So maybe then we can point you to the right thing if you specify your questions. Oh, yes, you want to be trained. So I think you should definitely set up coaching session or trainings.
Yeah.
Like,
I would come to you. Yes, I will set that up. Just give me some vacation first, and then later in the autumn.
Will do. And we have another question from Giacomo. Do you do or consider using in-person or online user research, for example, a focus group to get some qualitative data, or have you already done it? Or
so we actually do that for some clients. Focus groups are always really, really valuable sources of information, and I cannot stress this enough. Customers, users are they want to help you, and if you create a focus group, yes, they're gonna give you the truth, and then if you were lost, you're gonna find your way. So yes, I use that, and also kind of give them a little bit like, this is how we do it, and this is the search customer journey. Now we're going to ask some questions. Please be honest. And how would you want it to be done? And would you trust this or that, or etc.?
Yeah, so Giacomo, if you wanted to do some qualitative research, just go for it. And Hansa is asking, do you use the same process if you work on an email sequence?
Oh, don't know, actually. I'm not that good on emails. Or is it, or do you mean like CRM, or how? Maybe I don't understand the question.
Yeah, email seconds. Hansa, you mean like an onboarding follow of a series of email? Or maybe if you can refine your question, that would be helpful.
But yes, email is of course in the customer journey. It's touch point.
Yes, onboarding or customer retention email sequence.
So yeah, so that is, I mean, it's in the customer journey. I didn't put those stages in this one. Those are like 2 or 3 stages after purchase, like re-engage or the other ones, reactivate. Yeah, you need to find out what that means to your users, and what would they search for, and how would you help them? What kind of touch points would you need for that? But obviously, yes, people are always searching.
And we have another question from Iman. What's the best keyword strategy when it comes to migrating subdomains? Oh my God, but we are a little bit out of subject here, aren't we?
But I would then actually use the keyword programmatic tagging tool and search for it. And there's one. And yeah, try to tag the intents with relevant content on the new page or the new domain.
Wait, there is one that I think then we didn't say, then it was in the chat. What's the most efficient way to perform content gap analysis?
If you find an efficient way, I actually think that most efficient would be, I can tell you how I do it, and I've done the same thing for a long time. So I guess that's the most efficient way I do it, because I always optimize my work. I look at the page, I do a crawl, see what kind of URLs are there, what's the structure. I put it on an Excel sheet, color code it so that I can like make sense of it. And then I try to put everything into the stages in the customer journey. And then I see, okay, there's a lot of, and this is usually the case, there's a lot of product pages, and there's not so many pages about how do I get inspired, or how can I use this product in a way that I didn't think about before, or because it wasn't obvious to me. And then they're optimized for how to solve your problem. Use this product. Ta-da. And so that is how I do the content gap analysis. Also, you don't see, or if you look in, you compare the keyword data from Google Search Console, which is actually the keywords that people have been searching for, or the searches that's been made in Google has matched them with presenting your content. And then you do a keyword analysis somewhere else in a third party tool. And then you see that, okay, these things are missing in the Google Search Console. Yes, then there's a gap because you're not ranking for it.
Yeah,
lovely.
Indeed.
It's not
That's
efficient.
awesome. I did content gap analysis to find the gap between a client and a competition, but I actually didn't think that I could use this method to find gaps in the customer journey. But that's obvious, but I just didn't. think about doing it.
Nothing of this is new.
But
I didn't invent a wheel. I just combined a few things. We already knew this.
But you combine them well because
thank
everybody
you.
is impressed. So you combine them well.
Thank you.
yeah.
So I don't know if we have some more questions.
So any more questions? So I saw several persons asking for the recording. We are going to share it in a couple of days. I mean, just we'll take the time to download it and upload it, and you will find it on our YouTube channels. But we will share an email with the links and the slides and everything in the community. So if you don't receive the notification from Meetup, make sure that you turn that on so you receive our emails, or maybe just in the spam. But usually like a few days after every Meetup, we send that email and with all the links for you to find easily.
Yeah. So I don't know if somebody, like we have some few minutes, do you want to ask some more questions? Because this is your opportunity. If not, we will say the last goodbye. I know by experience that each time when we're closing, somebody asks. So do it now, please.
Oh, I have another question. So I wonder, I would like a follow-up of this presentation, and I actually would like you to add the layer of the tone of voice and
Yes.
and see how you, I mean, how you combine it, because this is something I did in the agency, but like customer journey and tone of voice, what you need and how you need it explained.
Yeah.
But I wonder if SEO could also help with that, or if it's just completely not useful.
I would say that especially around the questions, because we tend to look into questions just like these are direct questions, but people search their questions in different ways, and you only see it after digging deep into the data or the keywords, actually used keywords. So that could be one thing, and the tone of voice could then maybe how are the questions formulated? Is it very like softly, or is it in this way, or is it very academically, or is it I don't know, depending on the topic as well, of course.
Yeah. Thank you for your answers and for your many different answers. And as Sarah said, do we have any more questions for Ulrika? I think I have shared Ulrika's Twitter handle and LinkedIn link. So if you have any more follow-up questions, even after the talk, you're like, oh, I forgot to ask that. Just don't hesitate, ask anything. I mean, either to Sarah and I, and we'll make the introduction and follow up, transfer the questions, or directly to Ulrika.
Yes, please.
Otherwise, I think
that's all.
That's all.
Yeah, so thank you so much. It was like extremely interesting. And so obviously like Iselin and some other people that come from content, like they were like, wow. And for me, I will need to watch again the video probably once for some stuff, but mainly it was super interesting and I love it. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much for having me. This was super, super fun for me as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for bridging the gap between content strategy and SEO and starting a conversation, much needed conversation.
So you have your thank you on the side of the chat. People are saying thank you. And a lot of people say how interesting it was. I saw it before too. Okay. Thank you so much. So bye to everybody. Enjoy your evening. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao.